I'm on board. Like, and that was, an important moment for me to realize, like.
Have you thought about, like, it sounds like you've got a beautiful commitment for each other. Have you thought about retiring and not continuing to sleep with other people and just being completely exclusive with each other, not just in your emotions, but in your body, which I think is just as important as emotions?
I think probably within, let's say, like 3 to 4 years, that's probably quite likely, is that we might plan again.
But I think even if we retired with having sex on camera for money, we would probably still do explorative things in our personal life, because that's kind of how we got into the thing, was we knew that we liked sharing our energy with a third person, and that when that person even left the room, our energy between us was actually a lot stronger.
Yeah, and I figured that out when I first moved to California. I had this girlfriend that I was seeing, and we drove down to Tijuana, and we ended up like banging some of the strippers at the strip club called Hong Kong. And just us, like, we had that communal experience of banging strippers together. And I swear to God, the rest of our time together, we were so close. And then once I started seeing her and we kind of started having those experiences, like, I think you would really be surprised at how the level of trust that it takes to involve somebody else in your relationship. Now, I'm not saying it's always easy or smooth, because obviously sometimes you'll have girls, lying on you, or like, creating weird narratives, or just doing strange stuff in general. But I do think that when it works, it can be like a very transcendent experience for a couple.
I think you're kind of making the point, which I agree with, that it's very high risk, right? Like, it can get very toxic quickly. Like, even the guy that you were talking about earlier, you're not really sure if you're texting with him, like, after the scene that you did, there was
it's not for everybody. I think, like, we don't walk around talking about what we do with sex and trying to encourage other people to do it. Like, I'm not saying go let your wife sleep with someone else. It's really good for your relationship. You definitely do it. I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think everybody can handle it. We can only do this because our relationship is in a really good place. If our relationship was in a bad place, threesomes, everything's off the table, because we're not connected.
Yeah.
So we can't open up ourselves to somebody else.
But your most important, I'm going to guess, your most important sort of focus is protecting your relationship.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
That the case? Okay. So if that's the case, why would you kind of constantly put your relationship on the edge of the cliff again and again and again?
The reward is like, the risk is there, but when you actually have the experience, it makes our connection stronger when that person leaves.
What if you adds
to our experience?
What if you just fully invested in each other, and you're like, we're going to find the highs and the lows together and keep this exclusive to us? Have you considered that? Have you tried that? 7
years, I feel like we've probably felt a large percentage of the highs and lows, But also, like, what we do...
sexually, like, keeping that intimate for yourselves. Like, have you given that a year? Like, we're just going to be together, cut out other people. This is just for us again. Or maybe for the first time.
It's not for the first time. I mean, we've gone many months without doing things with other people.
Yeah,
but
it's not like a huge deal to us at this point. Like, honestly, even when I met her and I was still single, like, I was first starting to sort of like get to the level of clout when I started seeing her, that I was having random girls come into my DMs and want to like come over with their friend and hook up. And when I started seeing her, it was almost like kind of hard for me to let go of the filthy lifestyle that I had been living. But now the perspective I have on like group sex and stuff is that I absolutely don't give a shit. I would be totally fine being in a relationship with her.
I've offered him to go sleep with girls without me. Like, if I have a sore throat, I'm like, I don't want to go to set today. And he's like, no, let's just cancel. Like, I'd rather do it with you.
I'd rather play Pokemon Go or something,
Yeah, I mean, so the statistic is over 90% of non-monogamous relationships end up in separation or divorce. 92%. So, it's kind of that edge of the cliff thing, right?
But
it sounds like
they shouldn't have gotten married to begin with.
Let me just finish for a second. It sounds like you really value each other. You've got a beautiful trust and like love for each other, and you have a child and you want to have more children. So have you thought about, even separate from the straight up morality question, which, we're on the side of like, this is not moral, this is hurting other people actively, the addicts, the young kids, the broken couples, but even just for the sake of your own marriage. But have you thought about, we want to protect this marriage?
We put so much stress on our relationship, like in the sense that her sleeping with another guy was like basically one of the biggest stories in the whole country or world over the course of the past couple of months. And I could say that it put very little stress on our relationship, because it just really wasn't that big a deal to us, especially just because, we do, it's business to us, it was decided upon in a business sense. I do think that honestly, it might put more stress on our relationship if we were to have just done some sort of like sex party hookup thing. That might be a little bit more treacherous in terms of our relationship. I think the reason why we were comfortable expanding our relationship and that we can do orgy type content and all that kind of stuff, and it's not that big a deal or that intimidating to us, is because I've been with her for 7 years. I have no doubt that she's never cheated on me. I have no trust issues with her at all. You know, we're like completely comfortable with each other. So that's why we felt like it wasn't that big a deal. And that's probably why we feel comfortable doing it again, even after having been so massively in the news over the past couple of months. You know?
Adam, you don't see the increase in opening a relationship up to risk, though. We're just giving you statistics, 90% of relationships. You guys are functionally in a non-monogamous relationship, even though privately you may not be. It seems like you guys have something special, and it seems like you guys have a child and a beautiful family. You decided to get married. You decided to say the vows. And it seems like there's this roaring going on inside of you guys where you have certain values and you have certain things that you want for your kids in this unit, yet at the same time, I'm just perplexed by the motivation. Like,
I don't see those things to be contradictory, that we want to have a great life for our kids and stuff, and then we also are willing to, you know, do
I'm talking about for your
things.
own union. Like it seems like this increases the likelihood of this potentially ending, which I don't want for you guys.
We've never really discussed it in those terms. I don't think of it that way, and I think if anything, it kind of made our sex life a little bit more exciting for a period of time. Just the fact that I had a little bit of competition, a little bit more of a reason to go hard, you know? And I don't necessarily think that's the worst thing.
I do have a question, though. So if like...
Here, last thing on this, because I feel like we've been dogpiling a little bit on Adam here. But
if like going off and like sleeping with other people is not out of bounds with your marriage, what would you consider something out of bounds of your marriage?
Well, it actually is out of bounds with our marriage. Like we only have sex with other people on camera. But I think if we ever opened up our relationship to anything more, like we want emotional monogamy, and it's physical non-monogamy that we have. And like, so for us, cheating would be like dating other people, but also doing something that we didn't previously discuss. Like we have a calendar of all the girls we're gonna have a threesome with. If Adam decided he was gonna go fuck a girl and it wasn't on the calendar and I didn't know about it, that's cheating.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like her doing that scene with the other guy, like there was no betrayal of trust. It was just content, which I feel like those statistics of like 92% of people in polyamorous relationships or whatever, they break up. It's like, it's probably not necessarily including, because like we know a ton of porn couples who do stuff with other people and they do it on camera, and it either helps their relationship or it seems like it's just kind of a non-factor, which I would kind of put us in that box.
Have any been married like 50 years? Do you think they make it that long?
I mean, there's not people who are 70 and so I don't
but like after, do we have
never say never.
I don't think you have to be in
but
I know
after
I
living
know
that lifestyle.
long term.
at least a few couples who are in their late 40s who have many kids and a happy marriage. Yeah.
So let's try to bring it back to